up? What's up? Earl Skakel. Let's share this real fast so we can get the fans in here. I'll be back in two and two. All right, we're back. We're back. Let's do a little promotional, you know, promoting. Sunday, 3 p.m. Don't forget, if you are looking at this going, well, Earl, it's 4 p.m. Well, it's not. It's 3 p.m. It was daylight savings time last night. I didn't even know that myself. So, shout out to Joe Urell for painting half Earl, half a berry jelly right there. It's my Steve Stevens ray gun right here on top of the Comedy Store record player. My name's right there. And thank you to Radical Neon for making the Earl sign in the rat font. So now that we got all the plugs out of the way, we'll get this out of the way too. I'm just trying to be more proactive on YouTube. You can follow me everywhere at Earl Skakel. Earl Skakel. Skakel. Follow me everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, and YouTube. I'm probably right now more active on YouTube and Instagram. And if you're ever in Los Angeles, let me know. I will hook you up at the Comedy Store when I'm playing there. I'm there twice a week. I don't do the road all that much because, the road is, I've gone over this in past streams. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Unless the gig pays really well, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, if you know what I'm saying. So, but if I can get my YouTube channel a little more popular, um, who knows? Maybe I become popular myself and can play more of the United States of America. Who knows? I may even dip my toes into Canada. Some great clubs in Canada. There's the House of Comedy in Vancouver, I think Comic Strip in Edmonton. There's also House Comedy in Minnesota, House of Comedy in, I believe, Scottsdale. The newest House of Comedy, I believe, is in Plano, Texas. Yes, there are other places in Texas other than Austin to perform in. And who knows, Austin. I have not been to the mothership yet. I have an open invite. But to be honest with you, I don't like a lot of the comics there. So it's like I didn't like you guys in Los Angeles. I'm sure as hell not going to travel halfway across the country uh, to hang out with you in Texas. Kate, I am, never say never. Um, I've got some animation projects that as soon as the strike is over, if they hit, that would make it uh, pretty easy to hit the road. Clubs just want to put your name on the flyer and a network's logo by it. You've seen him, you've seen her, Comedy Central logo, Netflix logo, Hulu logo, or whatever, Amazon logo. That's all they care about. And if you're funny, it's a bonus. Um, so I haven't been on TV in a minute, but my cartoon. Well, it's not my cartoon; it's the Jellies. It's really Tyler the Creator's cartoon. I'm just living in it. It's still on the air, so they could. Any comedy club could put Adult Swim, Max, formerly HBO Max, Cartoon Network. You put their logos up. It would be truthful. Put Comedy Central's logo up for Roast Battle, Showtime for I'm Dying Up Here, Netflix for Real Rob. So who knows? I mean, never say never. But if you painted my makeup man probably will be in the stream any second now. The great Jordan the Lion. I don't know if I would put makeup on to do stand up. My stand up's pretty outside of my stage attire, which is, custom leather outfits and whatnot, it's pretty normal. I mean, I want to be known for my jokes, not wearing kabuki makeup. But hey, never say never. If some comedy manager came up to me and said, "Hey, put makeup on, you'll be the biggest comic in the country," you know what? That makeup would be on quicker than Carl Lewis out of the closet. Hello. So who knows? It's a wacky business. I'm open to any normal means necessary of how to make it. But, you know, the purpose of this stream was Friday night. I went to see Kiss at the Hollywood Bowl. I think Kiss has been around now for almost 50 years. I mean, I think their first album came out 74. So it's literally, I think, at the beginning of next year, it'll be 50 years. They've never played the Hollywood Bowl. And this was being billed as their last LA concert. And I actually believe it is. When I went to the farewell tour in what was it, 1990s, or the reunion tour was 96, the farewell tour was 98. I really thought this was it. Peter and Ace are a little older and they're not used to touring like Gene and Paul. So they got one last tour in them. I went to every show in LA. I think it was three at the Forum, one at Dodger Stadium, one at, I believe, Irvine Meadows, which became Verizon Wireless. Now I think it's a condominium complex, which is so sad to me because if you're an LA native, specific to the Orange County area, you've got to know that Irvine Meadows was home to some of the great, great LA concerts. Ozzy Osbourne, when Brad Gillis was in the band after Randy Rhoads died, I think they did Speak of the Devil there. It's pretty cool to see Brad Gillis on like 2 weeks' notice play all the Sabbath and Randy Rhoads stuff. Not necessarily flawlessly, but given the circumstances, it was impressive how he did it. Um, and then I mean, I've seen everyone there. Iron Maiden. I think Kiss's first show in makeup was at the K Rock Weenie Roast, which I believe is kind of the inklings of when they had Tommy Thayer in the band, because Ace was late and um, like his flight didn't get there in time, so I believe Tommy was literally in Ace makeup, ready to hit the stage at Weenie Roast, and then Ace took a helicopter there And urban legend has it that he walked by Tommy Thayer going to the stage, going, "Hey, Tommy," like everything was cool. So, but that did not happen Friday night at the Hollywood Bowl because Tommy Thayer's in the band. Um, Now, the opening act I thought was, it's Paul Stanley's kid Evan, and the band is called Amber Wild. And when you hear, oh, it's the lead singer of the headlining act's kid and the opening band, well, you're like, ah, it's nepotism. They're probably not that good. They just got the gig because of who their dad is. And I've seen stuff like this happen before, like Slash's kid. When I saw Slash's, Miles Kennedy featuring Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators at I believe the Palladium. Slash's kid, his son opened up the show, and they were pretty good. Um, I've also seen I've also seen Slash's daughter, who's only like 15 or 16. She played the Viper Room, I think 2 years ago, maybe, and she was really good. Like very haunting for someone that young. Like you could tell she's lived a life. Um, and then I've seen Kelly Osbourne perform, and it wasn't the best. No hate. It's just okay. If you're not Ozzy Osbourne's daughter, you're probably not getting this gig. She wasn't opening up for Ozzy. I just seen her perform. Now the sad thing was her backing band. I'll never forget this band because I saw them on their own at the Viper Room. They were a band called Pure Rubbish, and they were so good. Like when I saw them at the Viper Room, um, I thought, "Wow, this is the next Guns N' Roses." Like they had a very GNR type vibe, and then like a couple months later, I saw them on some reality show where they were her backing band. I'm like, "Oh man, it's over." Um, but Amber Wild's pretty good. I think they played about 6, 7 songs, and the crowd was pretty receptive. I mean, you could tell they were genuinely happy to be on stage. I guess I would. It's hard rock, I guess. A little bit of glam in there. Um, the band visually was good. The drummer was hard hitting. I can't say a lot of what he looked like, but I did not faint. But the singer, Paul Stanley's son, he hit the stage in these beautiful black sparkly pants that I want, a gold lame, a leather jackets. I almost cried when I found out how much the merchandise was. And then I believe the guitar player was dressed in a red Jake E. Lee style trench coat. I think the bass player was shirtless. Uh, they kind of had like a Buck Cherry vibe, and I mean that as a compliment. Um, they got the crowd going. I mean, I don't know if I would say the crowd was like completely amped up for them, but it is Friday. It's crazy getting into the bowl. I mean, I got there like 2 hours early. I went with Danny Dangerous, the sound man of the Comedy Store, who was and is the bass player in the very popular LA '80s band The Zeros. The Zeros were so popular at one point that their colors were purple, like they all had purple hair and they wore purple outfits. That the Whiskey a Go Go in their heyday painted the whole building purple. So that's who I went with. I mean, the bowl is kind of a clusterfuck getting in and out of. Um, you're right, but I have a new. I almost don't want to say this, Jordan, because I found a new hack for parking at the Hollywood Bowl. And because I'm a giver, there is a Legion Hall, maybe not even a quarter of a mile, a tenth of a mile south of the Hollywood Bowl, same side. And for $50, you can park there. And they don't stack. So I had a spot that night at the Comedy Store at 11:45. So I was very nervous about, you know, if we parked at the bowl, we'd get like triple stacked and literally wouldn't get out of there till 1 a.m. But Danny knew to park at the Legion Hall for 50 bucks. It's not cheap, but it was amazing. We literally were out of there. Of course, it took us, a couple minutes to walk back to the parking lot, but we were out of that parking lot in under 2 minutes. It was amazing. Um, Probably the only problem you would have, but that's going to be at any parking lot, is the pedestrians walking on the sidewalk. But we just hit it where after the show, there was no pedestrians walking. We just hit a pocket. So the Legion Hall or the church, which is on the corner of, if you're LA based, Franklin and Highland, there's a church that doesn't stack parking. No, I did not leave early because I don't want to say luckily, because I do kind of wish the concert was a little longer. Um, I believe the union rules at the Hollywood Bowl is any show, they don't care who it is 11 p.m. And like literally any minute after 11, the band is charged insane amounts of money. Now, I believe Guns N' Roses played there the night before, and I was told they did like 3.5 hours. And I know the Black Keys were the opening band, so I'll assume Guns N' Roses or their management company had to pay a very, very heavy fine. We will get to Singer on Black Diamond in a second. So we'll get to the show, and this covers the whole show, so I can say it up front. Um, One of the better vocal performances of Paul Stanley I've seen in a long time, because I don't think he necessarily tried to hit the high notes like he has in previous shows. And we'll get to, and obviously the biggest high note they do is the toward the end and the build up of the finale of I Was Made for Loving You. Can't get enough. He didn't do that. He was like, can't get enough. He kind of whispered it. So, did you wear your Bloody Bruce gunshot wound shirt for this show? Bloody Bruce. I don't know what that is. Well, before I get to the show, let's get to the merch. So, the Hollywood Bowl, the doors were at 6. For some reason, they didn't let people into 6:15. So, oh no, I did not. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I did not wear my Bruce. I should have worn that. I know. Accusing me of stealing this Casio when I have like 5 Breitlings. Okay. Um, so the outside of the Hollywood Bowl to get in was a clusterfuck because I don't know who did this, but there was 2 merch booths, one inside, one outside. But the one outside was literally right by the security detectors. So you had like 7 lines, and people were standing in line for merch. You thought they were in line to get in, and vice versa. So people were getting agitated. I did not take my ray gun to the show. Thank you very much. I mean, I love Bruce Kulick, for the record. We're cool, but it's just a misunderstanding. The girlfriend I was dating at the time actually had the watch, and she just wanted Bruce to come over and pick it up. He wanted her to drop it off, and so there was like an ego thing of, she was like, "Hey, man, I'm not your servant. I was nice enough to keep the watch," and he was like, "Hey, I'm Bruce Kulick," and then I get roped in the middle. I think at one point someone thought I wanted the watch. It's like, I don't wear Casios, man. Come on, get out of town. I roll deep with Omega, and I don't mean Kenny, Breitlings, and maybe I have 2 Tag Heuers that my mom gave me. And I'm a very sentimental person. If my house is ever on fire, I'm not taking the leather jackets or the pants or the whatever, the Jellies poster that Chandler got me. I'm taking my mom's 2 watches she gave me, um, which are, I mean, actually the one's pretty, I would guess, as appreciated to a pretty nice price, but uh, maybe the dewdrop action, maybe the hand. Shout out to Jordan for giving me this Mark Henry signed hand. I am not the father. I do have some cool trinkets here. When I get my podcast set up a little better, you'll be able to see all these. Here's Gene Simmons. Russell Peters gave me this. I got Russell a kind of a rare Kiss album. Yes, and I will take the Kamala doll. Gene and Kamala together again. And there is one more thing I would take. If this house is fully engulfed, and hopefully that never happens. But the incredibly rare, one of one, the grand finale, the Earl Skakel wrestling doll. Um, so the merch was out of control. I think they had about 10 shirts, 10 different shirts, maybe a little less than that. $60 each. The hoodie was 85, and they had a cool, like a bomber jacket for 200. Well, it depends where Lois is. Right now, Lois is with Gail, her mom. So I would definitely take Lois if she was with me. Maybe a picture of Annie, because I still miss Annie. I mean, I can't imagine how much money they made on merch. I mean, there was a line 100 deep, and I would say the average person was buying at least 2 items. Um, I even bought an Amber Wild shirt, and I'll wear it one time on stage and tag it. They had a really cool white shirt with a big pair of lips, like a girl going like, and looks a lot better than what I just did. That was kind of expensive. That was $50. So I'm sure Paul Stanley was like, "This is the pricing structure, Evan. Do it." Um, but I can't imagine how much money they made on merch that night. I will still say Metallica. When I saw them at SoFi Stadium, uh, they led the merchandising. Uh, like I've never seen something like this before. I mean, it still blows my mind that the Metallica merch machine. Like you would say to the guy, "I'll take a large," and they had them lettered C, D, and H, and the guy would just put his hand behind his back, and a worker would just give him those 3 shirts. I mean, they don't want any wasted interactions, or they don't want any time wasted with the guy taking your order, going and getting the shirts himself. I mean, it was like Santa's helpers. It was unbelievable. And Kiss kind of had the same setup. And then they had a merch stand inside, which was pretty crowded, but that's where I got my merch. I want to say I got uh, 3 shirts, 3 Kiss shirts, 1 Amber Wild shirt, and then the hoodie and the jacket. And it's an expensive endeavor. The only disappointing thing I would say um, is that they didn't have a Hollywood Bowl specific shirt. I thought for sure, because that would have sold out like that. Kiss at the Hollywood Bowl with the background of the bowl. Like I thought for sure they would do that, because I will give Metallica this. They had several SoFi Stadium, I think 2 specific Los Angeles shirts, and they were the ones that sold out the quickest. I mean, I would have loved to have done the "You Wanted the Best, You Got the Best." I mean, he was okay. Uh, oh yeah, that's a good point, Jordan. But I just thought, then charge $100 for that shirt. Give the bowl 50, Kiss takes 50. It's still, people would have bought it for $100. Like I think one of the cooler shirts I have. I mean, I have a lot of vintage rock shirts, and if you say, "Hey, you can keep 5," I mean, one I would keep. For some reason, I love it. I mean, my first concert was Bruce Springsteen, but my first rock concert was a Kiss, Slaughter and Winger at the Long Beach Arena. and I have a very cool. I have two shirts from that show. One's white, one's black, but my white one with the Spanx and then the four members in front of it. Uh, I believe I've seen that for sale on eBay for like $500, but I loved that. I mean, that's a lot of money. Yeah, I do have a lot of wrestling shirts with holes, but none of my wrestling shirts, to be honest with you, are too valuable because they're newer. I mean, I think when I did bench warmers, which was shit, that was almost 20 years ago. Um, the wardrobe people loved me so much, they were like, "Hey, take whatever you want." And so there was a couple vintage Hulk Hogan shirts, and WWE popular. I forget who was popular back then, and they were just take what you want. So I took a pair of Nikes with permission and a couple wrestling shirts. I mean, those would be semi-valuable, um, but none of my, I mean, like I love my Will Ospreay Brub shirt, but I don't think I could sell. I mean, I would never sell it, but it's probably $25. It's not even worth what I paid for it just because it's new. Um, so yeah, I mean, but the coolest vintage shirt I have is an Iron Maiden shirt when I saw them play the Forum, and they have a specific Forum LA shirt with Eddie coming out of the top of the Forum like this, and it was like, it's just cool because it's different. Uh, when you vomit on screen, it gets you places. Yeah. Well, also, but to be honest with you, I was just being nice, Kate. Like, apparently some of the main cast members were treating the wardrobe and makeup people kind of like shit, and I came in there, and I was only there for one day, but I was nice to everyone, and I have a thing with I know people's names, I can remember them, and so they're like, "Take what you want. We're not going to use this shit anymore." I'm like, "Are you sure?" And I was literally in the wardrobe truck by myself, going, and the pair of shoes I'm wearing. Oh, I love UK. You and Jordan are the best. Um, but it just that experience on Benchwarmer showed me, oh, if you're nice to people, you can get some cool shit on the cheap. So I'm sure people who don't know me are like, get to the fucking review, bro. And we won't speed through it, but the lights go down, um, and they play Led Zeppelin's "Rock and Roll." That's their song before they come out. I did not. I didn't have my Buffalo Bill impression for Spade at the moment, but I always would make the joke that when Kiss plays, uh, you know, when they turn off the lights and Led Zeppelin's "Rock and Roll" song is playing, and then Kiss comes out, I'll be like, "Hey, can you guys go back? This is actually a really good song." Um, and if you've seen my video on YouTube, you know what song they started with. A very rocking version of Detroit Rock City. Now, here's the thing at the Hollywood Bowl, and I know Jordan probably knows this. Kate might as well, and whoever the third listener is. Thank you to the three people. Um, they're under strict union rules, like what I was saying about Guns N' Roses playing long. So I knew the concert when I looked at. Okay, they I think Amber Wild went on at 7:45 sharp. I mean, when it was 7:44 and 59 seconds, they hit the stage. I thought, oh, Kiss will go on at 8:30, and they'll maybe play for 2.5 hours, which is a long time for Kiss because I think the standard Kiss show is about 15 songs. And it's the hits, but this concert, they played 23 songs. So I thought, oh, they're going to start on the nose at 8:30. And that's exactly what happened. So I was like, okay, that's good. Me and Danny can get out of the bowl at 11, run to the car, and with a little bit of luck, be on Highland at 11:15. That gives us a half hour to get to the Comedy Store. Now, usually the Comedy Store is running behind, and that night I was praying Leslie Jones. showed up to do some spots, and I've never said that before, but she runs the light a lot. I mean, she's very funny, and the crowd loves her, to be honest with you. Like, they pop whenever she walks out, but she runs the light. But I thought if Leslie shows up, I won't go out until 12:30, it'll be perfect. But it was the perfect night, Friday night. I got to the Comedy Store at 11:20, and they were running somewhat on time. Actually, the person before me didn't show up, so I went on time. But so the major curfew helped me, because if you've ever been to the Hollywood Bowl, you know it basically is an amphitheater stuck in a hillside that's surrounded by $1,000,000 homes, and you know those people don't play that shit. They're like, "This show ends right at 11." And to jump ahead, the show ended literally, I think, at 10:56, and they didn't do any, and there was very minimal crowd work, which I was surprised. I mean, they did a little bit, but, like, when they do usually he'll do a funny intro to lick it up. Uh, Not really, just said, "This next song, girls, you know what it's about, lick it up." And, usually he'll do, like, a 3-minute story about him being in the doctor's office. No, that's for Love Gun. He didn't do that, the only thing he said before Love Gun was, "I wanna come out and see you," and then he flies out over the crowd. But, I mean, Detroit Rock City, if you've seen my video I posted, and thank you guys for watching, very good opening song, um, and then, they go right into "Shout It Out Loud," you know, good version, um, a little bit of crowd work, and then they go right into "Deuce." Not much crowd work, they go into "War Machine," um, and then a little bit of crowd work before "Heaven's on Fire," and he switched it up here. You know how "Heaven's on Fire" starts with "Whoa." He did a different vocal beginning to that. It wasn't that at all. Um, and then, very quick song intros. I mean, you could tell the curfew was affecting the in between song banter. I Love It Loud, and this is a song where Gene breathes fire, which is very cool. Probably the only song that like didn't necessarily go over, and I'll give it to them, was "Say Yeah" from Sonic Boom. Um, I mean, it just you could tell the crowd was like, I'd rather hear at least like Crazy Nights or something. So I personally would have taken "Say Yeah" off the playlist. It just I think it's a mistake playing any song from Sonic Boom or Monster just because I mean, Tommy Thayer does do a great Ace Frehley impression, to be honest. But I don't think people want to hear original Tommy Thayer songs. And it's nothing against Tommy. This is the final show for Kiss. I don't think many Kiss fans can name a song off Sonic Boom or Monster. But hey, they played it. I mean, and people were respectful, but you could tell. I would say as soon as they said "Say Yeah," probably 20% of the crowd just sat down, and they still were clapping. But it's like, okay, this is our break time. And then of course, they do "Cold Gin," um, standard intro. When you're hot and feeling down in the dumps. And then Tommy's guitar solo. Which was good. I mean, that's kind of where you miss Ace, even though Ace is a total slob. Uh, you know, you do kind of miss the shock me, but they do a cool thing with Tommy. If you've seen the Kiss stage show from the last couple of years, they have about those 8 pods hanging over the stage, and Tommy shoots them with his guitar. Uh, I mean, I'm with you, Jordan, but I like a little bit of shtick, like for "Lick It Up" and "Love Gun." Those are pretty funny stories. And so after the guitar solo, they kind of go right into "Lick It Up," and they do a little cool, like midway through the song, tribute to the Who's "Won't Get Fooled Again." So it's kind of an extended version of "Lick It Up" with that thrown in. Um, So concert's about halfway over, um, and then the next couple songs are "Calling Doctor Love." Nothing bad. Nothing crazy about it. Normal version of it. I did like "Making Love." I've always liked that song. Um, Kind of creepy lyrics, though. I mean, some of those lyrics to early Kiss songs, I don't know, man. They don't really hold up. I think in "Making Love," what's the one lyric? e- Even when he sang it at the bowl, I'm like, oh man, he's like, red light, green light, go man, go. She says, stop, baby, go, go, go. I mean, that's like promoting sexual assault or something. I don't know. I mean, it was the '70s, so, it's a different vibe back then. I noticed how they took Christine 16 off the playlist. Hello. And then Psycho Circus, which I've always liked the song. Do you wish you would have went to the Palm Springs? Well, no, I wanted to, but I was gonna go by myself because I thought that's a perfect show to go by myself to. Just I probably won't know anyone there. Uh, I mean, I was recognized a lot at this comedy fans. I'm standing in line talking to Danny, and this guy comes up to me and goes, "Are you inappropriate, Earl?" I'm like, "Why do you ask?" He's like, "I recognize your voice," and so it was very cool. I had a good time. But I wanted to kind of go to Palm Springs just to, I'm a loner, man. I don't mind being alone. So, of course, it's cool to go. I mean, Danny is a big Kiss fan, so it was fun to go with him. But I wouldn't have minded going alone to Palm Springs. But I had a spot at the Comedy Store, so which I'm very thankful for. And then Eric Singer's drum solo, which was very good. I wish it was Patty Please. Patty Please is still alive, I think. Probably still living in the same place in Malibu. Eric's drum solo was great. I mean, I think Eric dumbs down his drumming skills when he's in Kiss. I mean, he's such a good drummer, but playing in Kiss for him is probably like, hitting pots and pans for him. Hold on, I got to get an energy drink. I should get a sponsor from Rockstar. I drink a lot of this stuff. Maybe I should do an energy drink review. But I've already drank this before, so it would be kind of a fake energy drink review. Tastes like lemonade, and I think 25 calories, so it's not too bad. They want him to kind of play similar slows to what fans think about. Well, here's the thing: he's a better drummer than Peter, and different. He's more hard rock. Peter was more jazz based. If someone wants to take a screenshot of this right now, hold on, let's get that out of the way, and we'll send it to Rockstar. I do everything for free, even when I get my 4,000 hours of watch times, and I can do super chats. I probably will encourage people to not pay me. I mean, I don't want to ask people that. If you want to ask me a question, you got to pay me. So one thing I don't like about the current wave of podcasting is like it's basically turned into fucking online panhandling. But if you're a fan of mine and when I'm at my 4,000 hours, you want to throw me a few bucks, I'll put it back into so I can have a better podcast background. I'm working on that. I mean, you know, these things weren't cheap. So, would do a Ric Flair energy drink review, but I don't know where you get it. I don't even know if it's out yet. It's the first energy drink you could snort up your fucking nose. And then I'm not gonna lie to you guys. During the 100,000 years, I had to go to the bathroom, so I missed that song, and I bought some more merch. They loved me at the merch. All these young girls working behind the counter, they're probably early 20s. They're like, hee 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 hee. So I gave them my Instagram. Said, hey, if you guys are over 21, you can come to the Comedy Store. And then probably the hottest one was like, I'm 19. to contact me in 2 years. Hello. And then the bass solo after 100,000 years, I walked in the bass solo, and Gene spits blood, and if you've seen Kiss before, you've seen a lot of this, but I think it had more meaning because it's obviously their last show in uh, maybe ever in Los Angeles. Yeah, I wish Nelson was behind me. For those of you not wondering, what the hell's that mean? Kate referenced it. When I went to Kiss Slaughter and Winger at the Long Beach Arena, I was sitting by the soundboard. I was with my friend Adrian. We used to work together at the Sports Connection. Um, and when I took her back home that night, she's like, "How do you want me to thank you for the tickets?" I'm like, "Hello." And believe me, she thanked me. Um, did you ask if she knew Dalia? Who? Bill Dalia? Hello. But there were all these beautiful women looking at me, and I was doing pretty well with women at that time, but I wasn't as well put together as I am now with the outfits and whatnot. Um, I thought, why is every hot chick in here looking at me? And it turns out the Nelson brothers were standing behind me. I mean, those guys got so much pussy, it's a gateway drug to dick for them. Boing! And then God of Thunder, which is probably one of my least favorite Kiss songs. Just too plodding for me. But I think if you're a Gene fan, you love it. And then the next song after that was Love Gun, and that's when Paul's like, "I want to come out and see you." And he flies out over the crowd, and they have a little stage in the middle of the Hollywood Bowl, probably maybe 5, 6 rows up from where the soundboard is in the middle of the. If you've been to the Hollywood Bowl, it's kind of the stage is like where the concourse is between the lower seats and the lawn seats, I guess. And I like Love Gun. Yeah, that's one of my favorite Kiss songs. And then he stayed on that stage to do "I Was Made for Loving You," and I don't know. "I Was Made for Loving You" live. I think it's a better song on the album than live. And like I said before, Paul's voice sounded good because I think he finally said, "I'm not going to try and hit the high notes anymore." Like that might explain during the intro to "Heaven's on Fire." He did a much more subdued beginning. It wasn't the whoa. It was like I don't even I couldn't even do what he did. It's like, oh, it's Heaven's on Fire, and he did the same thing on "I Was Made for Loving You." When toward the end, he's like, "Can't get enough, whoa, oh." It was he would whisper it. He was like, "Can't get enough." Whoa. It's much deeper, but I didn't mind it. I mean, it was a very fun show. So, and then he flew out back over the crowd to the stage, and they did a very cool version of Black Diamond. Um, Eric Singer, wasn't quite as animated, I thought, as I've seen him be when he sings this, but it's still a very good version of the song. The drum kit goes up, all the I think Tommy and was it Gene are on the side things that go up, and Paul's in the middle because he'd flown out of. I think he stays on the stage because he just flown out over the crowd. So he's like, "I'm good with that bullshit." And then that's the end of the show. Maybe a 2 minute, and you could tell. I think so. That's 20 songs into the show. And it was about 10:30. So they had 3 songs left. So they were a little bit on the clock. Because during Rock and Roll All Night, you got the confetti cannons, you got the streamers, you got the pyro. It's a lot. So that song, I would say Rock and Roll All Night took about 6, 7 minutes. So, and Beth is kind of it's not a long song, but they got to wheel the piano out. They got to he comes out and gives roses at the end, so it takes a little bit of so they are literally on the clock. So he said it's a good version of Beth. I mean, not a lot of bells and whistles with it. I don't even think he's playing the piano, to be honest with you, because the last time I saw Kiss, I was in the front row, and they bring the piano out, and I don't see his arms moving. He's not like doing this. They're just like kind of chilling. Um, I mean, I'm sure Eric could play the piano. Um, and then pretty quick intro into "Do You Love Me," which is kind of cool because that's when they throw out the big beach balls and shit. And oh shit, William Zoom is in the house. Um, yeah, you're right. I think Beth is done to tape, other than Eric's vocals. Um, a good version of "Do You Love Me," and then I wouldn't say they rushed into the final song, but there wasn't a lot of banter. Oh, there were people trying to steal the Kiss balls. Trust me on that one. And they're just balloons. It's not like there was merch in it. What they should have done is put merch in the balloons, and then that would have been a real fucking free for all. Um, and then they kind of just went right into rock and roll all night. And I got to be honest with you, like, I'm a sucker for all the bullshit, the confetti, the streams, all that. So and then, the show's over and they play over the PA system, "God Gave Rock and Roll to You." But I will say, and I don't know if the Hollywood Bowl does this on Friday nights with everyone, but very cool firework display. Probably about a 5, 6 minute firework display, right on the nose at 11 o'clock. So it's all good, William. Listen, uh, you know, I don't get mad at anyone for not turning into the stream on time. Shout out to Kate, Jordan, William. I know Ross Incognito will watch this at one point. Um, but as I was walking to the car, loosely running, um, and that was a clusterfuck from the standpoint of once we got out of the bowl onto the sidewalk, that was fine. I mean, I did feel like fucking Clint Eastwood in the Gauntlet navigating the illegal T-shirt vendors and the hot dog fucking people. It was out of control. I mean, there was probably 100 different people selling illegal Kiss shirts. And this one Mexican dude, like he had a cool shirt, but I'm like, bro, you misspelled Kiss. It's Kiss, not KIS. You fucking idiot. And probably 200 hot dog vendors, and they're all like, if you've ever seen the movie Losing It with Tom Cruise, uh, they've got the barkers who hang outside the strip club. Come on in, young girls, big. That's how the hot dog vendors were. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, and then no, I don't want one. Then you turn over, hot dog, and then you got the guy selling illegal Kiss T-shirts. I mean, it was nationalist. What's up, buddy? I'm assuming you're a guy, but who knows? Um, That's the thing. Live, I think I have more female fans than male fans, but in chats, it's definitely more male fans. But that's fine. A fan's a fan. And so overall, I would give the Kiss concert, just from the music, from Detroit Rock City to Rock and Roll All Night, a very strong B plus, maybe even an A minus. I mean, it was a fun show, and a lot. Everyone there was having fun. Slightly older crowd, um, but it's expensive. I don't know how young people go to concerts. I really don't. I mean, I'll break down this concert financially. Now, I had a friend of mine who works at Live Nation who hooked me up. Um, I sat in Garden 2. So if you're familiar with how the Hollywood Bowl works, it's, obviously the very front of the stage. That's VIP, that's front row. I mean, yeah, it's front row. I would guess those tickets 2,500 and up. And then you have the first section, and then Garden 2, and then the concourse and then the lawn. So, I had if you see my pictures I posted, I had perfect seats. Um, it was a fun show. I mean, of course, when a band says it's their final show, you never know. And I'll give Kiss, for Gene and Paul, they're in their 70s. Paul looks great. Of course, it's hard to tell what Gene looks like because he's got a different, the clunkier outfit on. But for 70 years old, Paul's pretty ripped. I mean, Kiss is an old band, man. I mean, I'm 55. I would guess Tommy Thayer is probably 5 to 6 years older than me. So he's 60, and he's the youngest guy in the band. And, Eric Singer's gotta be about 62. Um, but it was a fun show. There's no drama. Everyone's getting along. People are being nice. Even the people trying to sneak in our seats because we were in a box. There was an older couple. It's like, hey, can we sit here if no one else is here? Yeah, no problem. Um, but financially, even with the discount I got, I think I paid with service fees about 380 a ticket, and that's with the discount. So anyone else sitting in that section that didn't get the discount, I would guess my seats with no discount easily $1,000. Um, and so parking was 50 bucks. The merch was, I mean, I would say I was probably one of the higher merch customers in terms of what I bought. Um, you know, so even in the food, we didn't get any food or drink there, but it was a standard, 10 bucks for a Pepsi and all that shit. Even before you hit the seat, you're out a couple $100. It's like when I went to the Steelers Rams game. Um, uh-oh, ma. Uh, I, it was $100 to park at SoFi. I was with my two friends, the manager of the Comedy Store and his son. I bought them food and me, probably $100 total. So before I even hit the seat, I'm out $200. So with Kiss, it's definitely not a cheap evening. I can tell you that much. Um, but if it indeed is their last LA show, I'm glad I was there at a historic venue. Now, Paul said something very curious. He said they've only played LA 26 times. He said this is our 26th time playing here. It seems like 100 more. I mean, I've probably been to at least half of those shows. I didn't go to the early shows in the 70s, and like I said, my first Kiss concert was 91, but it seems like they've played LA a lot more than that. Um, but they've never played the Hollywood Bowl, so that was a very, very cool experience from top to bottom. And then I went to the Comedy Store and had a great set. I was in a good mood, and overall, it was just a very fun evening. And if it is their last show, I think they play Seattle tomorrow, and that's a great arena. My friend was at the Kraken game last night, um, and that's a great arena. It's an all green arena because I think it's underground. So I want to go to a Kraken game. No, I was too lazy to do my Kiss makeup. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the show was so good. I could see. I don't know how they would spin it to their fans. I mean, I guess you could just extend the tour. And I think with Kiss fans at some point, you're gonna like run out of excuses to keep extending their tour. I mean, like I said, I went to their farewell tour in '98. Here we are, 2023. So, um, but and I've never really seen an awful Kiss concert. I've certainly seen some that were better than others. I mean, I think a couple years ago I went to one where, and maybe it was just because I was so close to the band, the front row, that I could see when they were lip syncing and whatnot, and sing. I guess they would say, "Hey, we're just singing the track," and they're pretty honest about it. Some bands aren't. Like I don't think Motley Crue's honest with what they do live. Now I've never seen them with John Five, but Um, did you see Benny in the I thought, Jose, what's up? Do I like Metallica? Not really, to be honest with you. Uh, yeah, you're probably right, William. Yeah, it's our last show for this year, bitch. Um, Jose, do I like Metallica? I like Enter Sandman and Whiskey in a Jar. Now, what sucked for me is when I saw them play at SoFi, and I really only went because my friend Frankie is in Wolfgang Van Halen's band, um, and they were the opening act that night. I do like how Metallica changes their openers. So, like Friday night, it was Mammoth, Pantera, and Metallica, and then Sunday night it was I think Five for Fighting or Death Cat Cutie, one of those bands or something. Um, so but they do 2 different set lists, and unfortunately for me, they sing Enter Sandman and, Whiskey in a Jar on Sunday night, and I saw them Friday night. But it was an amazing like, to sit there in SoFi Stadium and to see it I've only seen it that full with WrestleMania when I went night 2. It's pretty impressive. Like, it's a great stage show, and I gotta be honest with you, they put on a good show. Like, I don't know a lot of their songs, outside the hits. Pink Floyd was too deep for me, bro. Yes, Five Finger Death Punch, thank you. Um, I mean, I don't feel too bad for John 5, to be honest with you. Uh, you know, I mean, he's a guy, like, he had an animation cartoon, like, he's a studio guy. He makes a lot of money. So I think playing in Motley Crue for him is probably just a way to get some pussy because he's so well off that, like, you know, and no offense to Motley Crue because I do like them. I mean, John Five is a pretty intricate guitar player, so probably playing Motley Crue songs is not that hard for him. We talked about Brad Gillis. If you really want to see someone working under pressure, uh, look up "Speak of the Devil" live on YouTube, and it's Brad. When Randy Rhoads died, uh, Sharon Osbourne didn't want Ozzy to stop touring because she thought he'd kill himself. So they pushed him on the road right away, and I think the first guy they used was I think it was like a guy in Whitesnake, Bernie Torme, I think was his name, and he was like a great guitar player, but he was like a hippy dippy guy, and like didn't work out. They got rid of him in like a week and a half, and then they called up Brad Gillis, and Brad Gillis had literally like 5 days to learn all the Sabbath songs, and then uh, the Randy Rhoads material. And for a good guitar player, that's not that hard to do. But when you're asked to cover Tony Iommi and Randy Rhoads, and you got like 3 or 4 days to learn the whole set list, probably pretty daunting. Um, but Brad Gillis killed it. And he gets a little shit because he didn't play exactly like Randy Rhoads. But can you imagine given 3 days to learn those songs played by two of the greatest guitar players of all time? Um, and this was right before he went into Night Ranger, and then Jake E. Lee took over. But look up "Speak of the Devil" live, and Brad Gillis kills it. Um, so John Five, and Mick Mars is a very good guitar player, but like John Five literally probably learned. He probably didn't even really have to listen to the Motley Crue catalog. He's like, I know these songs. I can figure it out as we go along. Yeah, well, Stephen Pearcy, Kate, Stephen Pearcy is still touring. The problem with Rat touring is, um, like the bass player Juan Crochet, he owns a recording studio, so he doesn't need the money. If you own a recording studio and what you can charge bands, like you're good. And Warren DeMartini, the original guitar player, I might be off on the info, but his wife is involved, I think, in the Mars Candy fortune. So he doesn't need the money, which is too bad because he's such a good guitar player. I went to a Frank Zappa tribute show. You had all these amazing musicians like Tal Wilkenfeld, the bass player, and Frank Zappa's kid, Dweezil. I don't know. He was in the running, man. That guy. Uh, and I got to be honest with you, like I'm not a musician, but to me, the best one who was more faithful to the Zappa music was Warren DeMartini. Um, and he's just quiet, and I don't know if he likes performing that much. Uh, so, uh, you know, I think Warren would reunite with Rad if they got like the Poison slot on like Motley Crue and Def Leppard, but Warren doesn't want to play like the Hoboken Biker Fest and one of the one of the Dakotas. He just doesn't. And Juan doesn't either. I mean, Juan might do it because he loves performing live. He is pretty funny to watch. He does the Wanacopter where he throws the bass around his neck and goes like that. Like he loves performing. Uh, and Bobby Blotzer and Piercy, they just don't get along. But I think if they were offered the Poison slot on the Motley Crue Def Leppard, they'd probably get along. Um, and then I think they would get Carlos Cavazo to be the rhythm guitar player. Uh, and Carlos Cavazo said he won't rejoin Rat unless Warren's there. So I just don't think Rat will ever tour again with the four of the original five classic members. Um, yeah, I mean Brad Gillis. I mean, if you really want to see a guitar player under fire, just look at the album, the live recording on YouTube. I think the whole uh, show is on YouTube, but if you look up individual songs, like Over the Mountain is on it. I think Suicide Solution. I mean, Brad Gillis gets a lot of shit because he used a whammy bar a lot more than Randy Rhodes, but he's still fucking. His guitar solo on Suicide Solution is pretty close to what Randy Rhodes did, with a little bit of whammy bar in it. I do like Oz. I like Ozzy with Jakey Lee. My favorite era of Ozzy is from Bark of the Moon to Ultimate Sin, and then I kind of checked out. Although I've seen him a lot with Zach Wild. And that's the live album. Yeah, I mean, Speak of the Devil's a great live album. I don't know if it's on Spotify. And of course, the tribute live album is what kind of got Jake E. Lee out of the band because he was like, "Hey, listen." I mean, I don't know what he said, but I'm sure it was like, "Hey, bro, I've been in the band now 5 years. Let's do a live album with me on it." I mean, Randy Rhoads is gone, bro. It's time to move on. I don't know if he said that, but I think that was his vibe. So, you know, and then Zach Wild came in. And are you going to the Mick Mars solo tour? I didn't even know there was one. I don't think I would go to that, to be honest with you. How does Steven sound these days? We're seeing. I'll say this: he puts in a great effort. I mean, he sounds like he sounds. His voice is the sound of rap. So I like the way he sounds, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a great marketing tool. Like, when you hear Stephen Pearcy sing, it's a Rat song. Um, he got a lot of shit back in the day for his live performances, but you know, I like it. And I'll say this, and this is, because I'm friends with Steven, I get to hang out backstage and whatnot. So I sat with his girlfriend while he did a meet and greet, and there was this, I don't know, 13, 14-year-old girl who came backstage, and she had, I think, Out of the Cellar album cover to sign. She started crying, and she told Stephen Pearcy, "I'm the reason, or you're the reason I play guitar." And like, he didn't blow her off. He probably talked with her 5 to 6 minutes, and he gets a lot of shit for his behavior back in the day, but I almost started crying because you could tell he knew he was making this girl's not life, but day or whatever, and he spent a lot of time talking with her, and the dad kind of backed off to let her have the moment with him, and it was very, very cool to see. And then these two bimbos came in looking for the drummer, and Steven got mad at the drummer, like, "Get these girls out of here." And the 13-year-old girl was like, "What the fuck?" You don't think Robin would play I mean, if Robin was healthy, he'd probably be like, "I'm with Warren. I don't want to play some biker rally." But Robin, toward the end of his life, was broke. I mean, I think he had to sell all his vintage guitars. Which, if you've seen that one picture of him in his house where he had like probably 100 beautiful guitars, it's like, oh man. I think one of my friends said he brought one of his vintage Jacksons for $50, and this guitar is probably worth 5 grand. But um, you know, what are you gonna do? So yeah, I mean, Kate, I don't think getting back to Rat. I mean, I think Piercy would play my living room if I offered him the money. If I said, "Hey, Steven, would you give me 5 songs, just 2,500 bucks?" He would get his band here and do it without hesitation. Because I think Steven, I don't think he needs the money, because he's the main songwriter. So Rat songs, he probably made more money in publishing off the Geico song because I think they re-recorded that so the other guys wouldn't get the money. Kind of what Taylor Swift did with, she re-recorded all her albums so that guy, the manager guy, Spencer something, wouldn't get the money. I think that's what Piercy did for the Geico commercial. So, he's in a good place financially. Like I said, Juan and Warren are um, in pretty good shape financially, especially Warren. Carlos Cavazzo, he's always touring with someone. He's like the Rudy Sarzo of guitar players. He's happy in life, and I don't know what his publishing breakdown was for Quiet Riot, but you could tell he's financially comfortable. And then Blotzer, who knows? I don't know what his deal is, uh, but he lives in a nice house. So I mean, Rat songs. I mean, Rat probably sells worldwide. I'm just guessing here, but they probably sell 50,000 records a year. So that's not like it's not going to buy you a home in Holmby Hills, but like it's good walk around money. Um, Black Sabbath, yeah, Paranoid's a great song. Probably one of my favorite Sabbath songs. And Brad Gillis, you can look that song up on YouTube with him. He does a little bit of whammy bar, which I don't think Tony Iommi really did. I'm not a guitar player, so I can't really have a technical talk, but um, it's a pretty, it's like Tony Iommi with a little bit of whammy bar in there. Yeah, I think Piercy lives in Vegas. I know all of Slash's uh, solo band. They live in Vegas. I think they're with a lot of 80s metal guys. You either move to Tennessee or Vegas. There's no state income tax. And I know in Tennessee there's a lot of studio work. I don't know how much studio work is in Vegas, but I think they play at a club called Vamps in Vegas where they do like a kind of a Rock of Ages style show. I don't know how much money you make doing that, but like I know Todd Kearns is frequently on that. Frankie Sidoris, Brent Fitz. Yes, Eric Singer played on them. I think on the album where I think Glenn Hughes was the singer. When that was a kind of weird time in Sabbath where it was really a Tony Iommi solo band, but the record company made him call it Black Sabbath, or else they wouldn't put out his music. So it's really Tony Iommi with I think Glenn Hughes singing, Eric Singer on drums, and I forget who the bass player was. It's kind of like what Twisted Sister, Twisted Sister in 1987 put out an album called Love is for Suckers, and it was really a Dee Snider solo album. But the record company, I think it was Atlantic, said, "Listen, we're not putting this out unless you call it Twisted Sister," because the other guys in Twisted Sister were not on the album. It was, I think, Red Beach was the guitar player, Kip Winger um, uh, was the bass player, and I forget the other musicians, but that was the '80s, though. It's like Creatures of the Night with Kiss. It had Ace Frehley on the cover. He was nowhere near that fucking album. I mean, that's almost an interesting album, almost as interesting as Guns N' Roses' Chinese Democracy, which had like 48 guitar players on it. Creatures of the Night, you had Vinnie Vincent, uh, I think Steve Lukather, the guy from Mister, played a song on it. Some guy named Steve Ferris played on it. Like, I don't even think Kiss knows who played on it. Like, I think they asked Gene, like, who played guitar on Creatures of the Night, the album, not the song. And he was stumped. It was one of the few times I've ever seen Gene stumped. Eric has played, Badlands is a great album, or great band, with especially the first one with Jake E. Lee and the great, well, I mean, he's a shitty human, but he was a great singer, Ray Gillen. He knowingly infected um, people with AIDS. And then Craig Chason on bass. That was a great band. But their problem, I mean, Ray Gillen, my ex girlfriend Shelley said his voice was so good he could sing the phone book and you'd be interested. Uh, but they didn't last very long because they were just a great band. But image wise, they just hit the stage in regular clothes. They were like a slightly glammier version of Tesla. And I don't mean the car. Yeah, Vinny he looks pretty rough. Well, that's what the rumors are. That's why Jake E. Lee kind of lost his mind. Because and I don't like really saying rumors over an internet chat, but I've heard because Jake E. Lee after Badlands just kind of disappeared for 20 years, which is crazy because he's so talented. I mean, he is one of the great metal guitarists of all time. Um, and I think him and Ray had dated the same girl around the time Ray was infecting people, and I think you can imagine what that did to Jake's state of mind. Like, am I going to die? And so he just moved to Vegas, and I think for 10 years, the rumor is for 10 years he didn't pick up a guitar. He just worked on classic cars, and then I saw his first concert back at the Whiskey. He was great. Like, I'm not a guitar player, so I can't critique the playing per se, but um, the singer was pretty bad. Some guy named Darren, Darren from Canada, and like when they were singing the Ozzy song "Rock and Roll Rebel," which has a great guitar sound to it. I think he was singing "Rock and Roll Devil." It's like, oh, come on, bro. Um, no, I agree. I mean, and nothing against Zach Wild. I just love, like, I would love. I think the Salt Lake City concert from 1984 with Jakey Lee, like that's prime Jakey Lee. Like, I think I talked earlier about Brad Gillis doing um, Suicide Solution Justice, the guitar solo. Go on YouTube and look up, I don't think you should look up Ozzy Osbourne, Salt Lake City, 1984, or you could say Jake E. Lee, 1984. And that's prime Jake E. Lee. Because though when they did the US Festival, the sound's not great. Um, but wow. I mean, that is his guitar solo on Suicide Solution is like really good. Um, I think, I mean, I like the two albums Jake did, Bark of the Moon and Ultimate Sin. Although Ultimate Sin, was a little lossy for most people's taste. Now, here's the crazy thing: is many of you know where I live in West Hollywood. At the end of my street is Larrabee. Well, at the end of my street now, it's going to be a weed restaurant that Rosanna Arquette is behind. I don't know if David's in it as well, but it's like weed infused food, Um, but and that used to be Flaming Saddles, and then I think it was another club before that. But back in the day, it was Larrabee Sound Studios. They still have the sign in the parking lot, and I believe Ozzy did a lot of Ultimate Sin there. And it's rumored. Someone told me that Prince did some parts of Purple Rain there. So just kind of funny that the street I live on, literally 100 yards, not even 100 yards, 50 yards down the street from me, is some of my favorite albums were recorded. And I think I did a comedy show there once. And I also did, I think back in the day, the Perry's gay wedding thing for Don Barris. And I went upstairs just looking around in between takes, and there's some parts of the recording studio they left as like a historical like monument or whatever. Oh yeah, I did. Last night I'm walking back from the gym. There's a new gym I go to right down the street. Um, and I'm going up my street, and there's just a woman taking a shit on the sidewalk. Like, and I walk right by her, and I've pissed in public before, and when I see someone coming, I get nervous or whatever, and I zip up my pants. Um, but this lady just took a dump right in front of me, looked up at me, didn't even say hello. It's like I was in the way, bitch. This is why I'm moving out of this neighborhood. Like, when someone's shitting on the sidewalk is just like normal behavior, I'm out. Another wedding is in the works. I'd never found Perry funny, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember uh, meeting him at the Canoga Bowl. Maybe I was 2 years into comedy. And he went up and he bombed. And it's the same shit he's doing now, just yelling and screaming. And like, especially with the new guy in his life, Tom, who I know, we're not friends, but we're not enemies. It's just exploiting this guy who's like mentally challenged. It's not funny to me. Oh yeah, I mean, I knew Perry when he was doing open mics in the Valley like 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. I just personally don't find it funny. Like, it's old. It's like, it's making fun of a mentally unstable person. Like, I don't find the humor in that. Or I should say, I find it funny for about 2 minutes. And then it's like, this is sad, especially now. And hold on, the TV just popped on. What's going on here? Um, I'm a one man operation here. So, oh yeah, that's not an act. He's really an idiot. Um, but I just find it like embarrassing. Like, like someone sent me a clip of him the other day, and he's begging for super chat money, and it's just like sad. I can promise you guys, the 8 people listening, and to the people watching this stream, I will never beg for super chat money, even when I can do it. Like I said, if you want to donate, great. I'll still answer all your questions. Um, oh, of course he doesn't. He's exploiting the guy. And I'm sure the people who wanted to hear the Kiss review have checked out, but I just don't find it funny. Like, the guy's clearly mentally unhinged. And I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, he's slow. And at least when Don was doing it, he put him in a fucking movie, man, and he gave this guy a career. Tom's just kind of piggybacking on the tail end of it, and I got to be honest with you, the Perry stuff was old to me. Probably 2 years after Windy City Heat came out, it was just like, okay, and like he clearly doesn't know he's being made fun of. Like, he's not being laughed with; he's being laughed at. But at this point, what are you gonna do? And now I saw something. Someone sent me a thing where he gives out his home address, and you can mail him stuff to review for super chats. Like, what? Um, but you do know that Perry lost his disability. I don't, to be honest with you. I did not know that. But like, I saw him, my friends. I'm not in the Dabbleverse, but I'm a loose associate with it. And I saw, I guess they did a comedy show in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, a couple months ago, and like they're just goofing on him, and like I'm sure he doesn't care at this point, but I don't know. It's old. I think everyone should move on from Perry. And I don't dislike the guy, but like, let the guy just live. The sad thing is, though, he probably can't even do that. Perry right now is like a bartender or stripper. I know so many bartenders and strippers, they never quit because it's all cash, it's easy money, and, Harry could never work a regular job. It's just like, can you imagine him on a job interview? So, well, speaking of Chad Zumach, I will be judging the roast battle Tuesday on MLC between him and Ray DeVito. Kevin Brennan and I are judging. There might be another judge. I'm not sure. Maybe Adam Henniker. Well, I think Chad is. I would disagree with you there a little bit, Jordan, because I don't think Perry is funny on his own. I've seen Chad do stand up. He's funny to me. Um, yeah, I mean, but I think Chad and other people in the Dabbleverse world, I mean, are smart because they encourage trolls. Like, it's a great like, if you look at Kevin Brennan, like, he did the Matthew Perry, um, joke, and I think he knew he would get backlash from it, and he knew people tune into MLC and super chat him money to say, "Fuck you." Like, that's brilliant. Like, Kevin has fans and haters, and they both paid to talk shit about him. Um, I don't know the story behind the black eye, but I gotta be honest with you, since like I said, I'm a loose associate of, the dabble world. I'm not in it. I stay out of it. I don't wanna know the story about the black eye. I don't wanna know the truth, you know? I leave the Dabbleverse world to Kevin, Chad, Shuley, Carl, Steel Toe, Melton. Um, I mean, all comics are really sad behind the scenes. Even the most cocky comic, uh, is sad. I'm sad behind the scenes. Not like suicidal, but like I get depressed or whatever. Um, just it's the way it is. I mean, it's a shitty business we're in a lot of ways. The constant backstabbing and pushing and shoving to get ahead. I sure hope I don't hurt anybody. Hello. Um, so, I mean, I think with like Chad and Chad's a wrestling fan, so I know what he's doing. Even on MLC, like I knew he would go back on MLC because Kevin would never admit this, but they don't need each other, but I think they're good for each other. I think they're better off with each other. But I guarantee you, Chad will have another fight with Kevin down the road, and they will go on. It's like heels turning face, faces turning heels. It's back and forth. Um, you just need to pitch Tony Khan. I tell you, Tony Khan, if he gave me an hour, if I had dinner with Tony Khan, and he looked at me and said, "What would you do?" I would do it. Yeah, but see, I don't care about the numbers. You know, like look at me on Patreon. I have, I think, 19 members, and to be honest with you, I think 3 or 4 of them are freebies. Like they're signed up, but they don't pay, which is fine. But I'm one of the funnier people on Patreon, but I have the worst following. So yeah, absolutely, people love a train wreck. I mean, and Chad's a train wreck. And I don't think he would mind me saying that. But Perry, I just personally don't find funny. I've laughed at things Chad has said. Kevin Brennan's one of my favorite comics. I'm good friends with Shuley. Um, I mean, I don't listen to Carl that much, not because I don't like him. I just, at some point you got to pick 2 or 3 shows to listen to, and the rest uh, don't, make the cut. I mean, I used to listen to Steel Toe a lot more, but listen, I don't criticize anyone's business model, but it's just a little too much, asking for money for me. But he's good at what he does. I probably listen to Melton the most, Melton and MLC. So, uh, you know, I mean, I'm lucky that my family is good at business. Um, yes, Kate, please send Tony Khan. But see, that's the wacky world of wrestling. If you sent Tony Khan, say, hey, you should have this guy as a writer on. Tony Khan seems like the type of guy who would find me on Instagram and go, okay, what do you got? Uh, where are you moving to? I'm moving. I'm staying in LA. I'm just moving out of West Hollywood. I hate West Hollywood. I mean, just like I said last night, the girl taking a shit right outside my side. Not right outside, but 50 feet from my door, and like looked up at me when she was doing it like I'm the dick. A month ago, armed robbery, three gunmen rob a drunk patron from I think Mickey's, uh, 50 feet outside my door. Like I legit don't feel safe here. Like when I walk my dog Lois at night, I literally take her in the car. We walk around Beverly Hills. I drive back here. Lambda, lambda, lambda in the house. A late comer. Uh, Earth sucks. I don't know who you are, but I like your energy. What Kiss song is the best to get up and go to the bathroom when you see them live? Well, like I said, let me pull up their set list. I think I went to the bathroom during 100,000 Years, which was 15 songs in. Uh, and 100,000 Years is a good song, but I would say if you like classic Kiss and you were at the concert at the Hollywood Bowl, 7 songs in, say, yeah, I would have gone to the bathroom then, for sure. Used to be able to walk. I know. West Hollywood, I could walk around with my wallet hanging out on my shorts and no one would bother me. But now, like the alley down the street from me, 50 yards down the street from me, is gang graffiti because the gangs know that now that I think Mickey's and Rocco's are open till 4 a.m. on weekend nights. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of fucked up patrons, and you know, like the guy who was robbed by the three gunmen because it was on camera. My building's camera actually caught the robbery. You could tell he was stumbling around looking for his car or whatever, and he was distracted, and because it's all permanent parking around me, so it's really just the perfect storm for thieves. That you got a drunk patron going like, "Did I park on Larrabee or did I park on Palm or did I park on Harrod?" Um, so Ray Rodriguez, how much meth was Paul Stanley on? I saw him flying across the audience. Well, he was being pulled. I don't think Paul Stanley does meth. Thank you, Sucks. I appreciate that. Stand by and then tell me how unsafe. I'll see. I'll make you the same offer, William. Come stay in West Hollywood. I guarantee you, West Hollywood is more dangerous than Baltimore. Yes, nationalists. I agree. George Gascon's an idiot. Uh, uh, well, I think everyone knows I live on Larrabee. It's not like Um, and let's be honest, if you want to find out where someone lives, it's pretty easy. I mean, my number's listed, my landline number. Fuck yeah. Suck it. This is what a landline looks like, bitch. This is how I answer the phone when someone calls me. Hello. Um, I mean, I'd rather live in the Gaza Strip than West Hollywood right now. Yeah, I mean, Normandy and Hollywood, that's not, the greatest neighborhood to be frank, but it's not horrible. Um, you know, I mean, I live like literally, I live 100 yards from the sheriff's station, and I still feel unsafe. William, I'm telling you, just please, you got to go with me on this one. Go on, I think it's wehoville.com, wehoville.com, and they do a crime report of West Hollywood. It's frightening. It's probably 50 crimes a week, and all of them pretty high. A lot of armed robberies. I mean, it's not safe. I mean, I walk around with my Mike Knuckles, Stephen Pierce again. Uh, I never really hung out with Dean Del Rey, to be honest with you. We did a couple episodes of his podcast, but I'm better off alone, to be honest with you. Um, I mean, we're comedy friends, no beef, but, well, I mean, I think we interviewed the guy. I think the last interview me and Dean did together was, we interviewed Ralph from Steel Panther, and, like, I wanted to have a serious interview because, like, he was in the Van Halen band Atomic Punks, and he does a great David Lee Roth, but then Ralph was in character the whole time as the singer from Steel Panther, just talking about how much pussy he gets. So it's kind of, you know but, me and Dean are cool, but, yeah, we don't really. The thing in comedy is, you have friends and then you kind of branch off into different directions. So, I know, I mean, 18 viewers, that's a lot for me. I mean, I wish they would have tuned in an hour earlier because now I'm winding down, but I do appreciate the views. And if you 17 people watching, when I post this on Twitter, if you could retweet it, share it, that helps me. That's the only thing I'll ask. I won't ask for money, but like or a share, repost, whatever X calls it now, it helps. Um, Earl had to watch out for butt pirates. Yes, I mean, but I don't really get sexually harassed too much in West Hollywood. That used to happen a lot when I first moved here. Like I one time was walking Lois and Boom, my Japanese chin, rest in peace. And this guy's following me around, and he's getting close enough to me where I was like, hey, bro, I'm straight. And he just looks at me and goes, "Are you sure? Because I give the best blowjob on Larrabee." Uh, and I'm like, I don't think so. And then he did. Hello. Um, Dawkins is still out there. Yeah, it's not real um, OG Dawkins anymore. I mean, it's only Dawkins me of George Lynch, Jeff Pilson, Wild Mick Brown, and Don Dawkins are in the band. Um, I have not interviewed Brian Slagle yet, but we will. We did a hockey podcast a few years ago called Kings of the Podcast. You can check it out. I think it was from 3 years ago because Brian had some roots with Rat. If you remember, he put out an album in 1982 called Metal Massacre, and I think Metallica was on it, Rat was on it, and a few other bands were on it, like in their early incarnations. I think Dave Mustaine was still in Metallica at that time. So, how many groupies were at the Kiss show? Any of them in wheelchairs? There were a couple people in wheelchairs, and it's a weird crowd. There's a lot of young girls there, like, and obviously girls my age as well. I mean, Kiss does have the kind of a eccentric fan base at this point. Tonight, long stick goes boom. I don't know what that means or sucks. I'll be honest with you. I want to see your jersey collection someday. Well, hopefully, I sell it sooner than later. But it is a sight for sore eyes. I'm going to buy a Plato's Retreat. I need a seamstress who can do the beads and the bedazzling for me. One of your best ones. Oh, yeah. I mean, I go to drag shows from time to time. One. Um, yeah, I mean, the first Metal Massacre album, like that was Rat. I think they did Back for More on that album, which was a heavy version. And when I say heavy, I don't mean like Slayer heavy, but I mean it was a very it was heavy for Rat. I hate to say this, but Kate could possibly. Oh, interesting, interesting. Kate, are you down to be a seamstress? I got to buy the shirt first. But here's the modification. I wouldn't want the bottom cut off like a tube top. Um, I would just want the sleeves done like that, and the shit on the bottom I'd be cool with, but I don't want a tube top. I'm a little old for a tube top, and even though I'm in great shape, You know, I'm not sure if I want that. Yeah, beloved chatter, you are right. I mean, Kiss is just, I mean, I would say the age range, I saw 12-year-olds there to 70-year-olds. Um, and their music is, like when you're around for 50 years, I mean, Detroit Rock City's been in movies. I Was Made for Loving You's been in movies. I think I heard that movie. I heard that song in Endless Love, the original version. Uh, I mean, I would say Gene does quite well with women. Yeah, yeah. Kiss is supposed to end. I don't know where they go after America, but oh, interesting. I will buy that shirt tonight, Kate, and mail it to you. I did not, Santos. I did not. Where can I get the best leather pants online? Ray, I would not get leather pants. Yes, French with beads would work, Kate, and money is no objecto. Where can I would not get leather pants online. I mean, if you're being serious, Ray, I mean, you could get cheaper leather pants at like a sex shop. The first pair of leather pants I bought was at a sex shop on Santa Monica Boulevard. They were basically motorcycle pants. And when I went up to the front to pay for them, the guy was watching a fisting video, and he was watching a fisting video like I would watch a baseball game. It was unbelievable. Pam is good. Nothing beats Rock and Roll Over album is a very good album. Well, I was saying, Ray, like I take fashion very seriously, so I would never in a million years buy leather pants online. Um, but I don't believe the Pleasure Chest has pants, but like it was the sex shop I went to was 665 Santa Monica Boulevard. It's now called something else. It was just called 665 because um, that's the address. Alex Watts in the house. Hey, I got 15 people an hour and a half in. Now, Shuley and Kevin Brennan, they have 1,000 people. I get 15, but I'll take it. Gifted from the Cowboy from the Village people. I love the Village people. Their first, like couple albums, they were fucking good. Have you picked a side between Motley? I like Mick Mars because Mick Mars keeps it real. Did you ever meet Anthony Bourdain? I did not. I'll buy the police officer helmet for this outfit. Um, I like, if you listen to the Village people, like Giorgio Moroder was a great '80s producer. Oh, no, no, don't super chat I was on. I didn't know Kevin was on right now. I guess he does the football thing, but I don't think he's jealous of the 15 people I'm pulling. Um, what's a go-to '80s film that'll get me laid on a first date? Hmm. I mean, Risky Business is a very good first date movie. Um, oh, okay. I didn't know he was on. I mean, it depends on the girl. Like, if you want like a funny movie, I mean, Risky Business is pretty good. If you want like, there's some author, Pretty in Pink is a good movie. Although I like Some Kind of Wonderful better. Yeah, I like Kate's thinking. I don't think too many guys are going to get laid taking a girl to see Rambo, but maybe they will. I don't know. Let me see. I mean, 16 Candles is a good movie. Vision Quest is a good movie. I don't think you're going to get laid, but like you should do quite well. I took a first date to Risky Business, and I didn't get laid, but we had a good makeout session in Westwood after. But that's when you had to actually go to a fucking movie theater to see a movie. Um, have a bottle of red wine ready. So, all right, guys. Well, we've done an hour and 40 minutes. We've learned a lot of information. We've learned that Kate is going to be custom making a Plato's Retreat shirt for me with beads, and I think he bedazzles the front. So I'm just going to buy a Plato's Retreat. It's not a vintage shirt. That would be my choice. But I have a feeling a vintage Plato's Retreat shirt is probably $500, and that's even if it's legit. I saw a lot of great soundtrack, Vision Quest, and one of the great. I think I talked about this on my last stream, William, of actors that should have been bigger that just weren't. Like I think I said, Michael Pare. I just thought, wow, this guy's like a smoldering Clint Eastwood, and he didn't really pop. But Michael Schofling, who was in 16 Candles, and he had the mohawk in Vision Quest. Uh, I thought this guy's a star. He's good looking. He's a good actor. He could play the sensitive type. I think he quit acting after Vision Quest. It's kind of like Elon Mitchell Smith from Weird Science and the Chocolate War. I think he just got so fed up with the fucking business. He teaches literature in Austin. So just you know, Jenny Wright, who I've had on Inappropriate Earl, like one of the great '80s young actresses, super talented. I think she quit the business. She lives on a fucking goat farm uh, in New York. I don't think Over the Top is going to get anyone laid, myself included. Although I did get laid once after showing a girl Lock Up, to a hidden gem of a Stallone movie. But isn't that crazy, William? Like Schoflin, like was a really good actor and like good looking, and like he just. That's the crazy thing about this business is that it just tears you up. I mean, look at Jenny Wright. I mean, she was beautiful. And when she came on Inappropriate Earl, you could tell this is a girl that's been burned by the fucking business. Really sad. Yeah, Rick Moranis is another one. Like, he had a great run in the '80s, and then just, I don't know what happened. Hart Bachner, who mostly everyone knows him from Ellis from the movie Die Hard. He was good in anything I ever saw him in, and he kind of flamed out. Um, well, Losha wanted to kill me, so I'm going up to dinner one night. I'll leave you with this story. His daddy's getting tired. This is about the time for my afternoon nap. I thought I would just do like a 45-minute review of the Kiss concert. But this is the beauty of Earl. I can really ramble about anything. I have a photographic memory and I have a wonderful talent for the gift of gab. But one night I'm driving to the Bel Air Hotel, no, the Bel Air Country Club, when my father still had a membership, but that my parents had moved to Miami. But my dad said, keep the membership, go up there Sundays for dinner, bring a girl or whatever. My dad was a team player. So instead of bringing a girl, I brought my three hockey buddies. And we're driving around Bel Air, and Bel Air, where Bel Air Country Club is very curvy. And all of a sudden, this car kind of pulls in front of me. So I cut it off and I like flip it off, fuck you, or whatever I said. And then all of a sudden, we're in the Bel Air Country Club dining room, and Robert Loggia from Scarface and Over the Top and hundreds of other things, big, comes up to me and goes, "You're too good looking of a guy to drive like that. Apologize." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, Mr. Loggia." He's a nice guy though. Can't stop the music. We'll get. That's a girl with a 9-inch dick, nationalist. Uh, but that movie probably killed the Village People's career. It was so bad. The guy who played Shoot in Vision Quest really don't know why he was popular for 20 years. Well, it's funny. I think his name was Frank Jasper William, and I used to work with his cousin Patty at the Sports Connection. Seguar coming in hot with a mama, 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 mama. Um, if you listen to the Quiet Riot song "Mama, We're All Crazy Now," it's better if you do it my way. I say, "Mama, mama, 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 we're all crazy now. Mama, 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 we're all crazy." Not to bring down the mood, but Moranis quit acting when his wife died to raise his kids. No, that's it's like the wrestler, I think I have his book somewhere around here. Nikita Koloff did the same thing. I think, in the prime of his wrestling career, his wife got very, very sick, and he quit the business to take care of her and their kids. There are some decent people in this fucking business. Um, Keep it clean. I got something your grandma can keep clean. Uh, yeah, yeah, he was pretty jacked. Are you going to review the WWE Saudi Arabia Blood Money Bash? I don't watch WWE, to be honest with you. I tune in for maybe a minute or two. I'm AEW for life. I will be doing a review of AEW's Full Gear, which I will be at live. Where do I sign up for the Life of Daddy Man tour? That would be funny if I did that. If I just rented out a party bus and did the Life of Daddy Man tour, that'd be an expensive endeavor. Um, and let me know when you're out here. I'll get you in at the Comedy Store. Studs Theater, which is now an abandoned. It's just abandoned. Would you host a show with Booger McFarland? I would rather host a show with Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. Hello. Uh, Shout out to my boy Joe Tessitore. He got a raw deal on Monday Night Football. I mean, I don't know Booger McFarland, but they were like a comedy team, and when one of the comedy partners is bad and leaves the other one hanging, like the Steelers would be losing by, I don't know, 2 touchdowns with 2 minutes left, and Booger McFarland would say to Joe, "Well, Joe, the Steelers have to score." And like, what is Joe Tessitore supposed to say to that? No shit. So would you? So 18 people, the numbers are growing. This might be the most popular stream I've ever had. Maybe it's because of my background. Because you guys have been so. I don't do a hype train, but I will do this. So, hey, from Australia, Shandy girl. Are you a Shandy girl because you like Kiss? I just find I love Shandy. That's a good song. Well, it's funny, but the fact that I'm happy, I have 17 viewers now. Um, oh, really? That's a lot for me, beloved chatter. Now I'm down to 13. Numbers are sinking like a rock, but I'll take it. So, good show. The Kiss show? Yes, it was. Listen to the beginning of the stream, and I reviewed the whole show. But welcome from Australia. I might do the Melbourne Comedy Festival at one point. 14 likes. That's definitely the most likes I've ever had. So I appreciate that. I do appreciate the fan support. Tim Dillon told me a couple months ago. He was. I I think he meant it in the right way. It's like, Earl, you should be more popular. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, bro. He's like, Earl, all you need is 2,000 fans, and you can make a career at this. So, you know, yes, everyone loves the acclaimed. I loved your interview with Bobby Jean Brown. Yeah, oh, thank you, Shandy. Like, she was very good. I mean, it was a bit of a. It's probably the worst interview in inappropriate oral history, not because of her, but um, one, she brought her like 21-year-old boyfriend over, so I couldn't really ask her about how big Leonardo DiCaprio's dick is in front of him. And she didn't really want to talk about the cherry pie video anymore, which I kind of get, but like, and then she didn't really want to talk about winning Star Search and all that. So it's just like, uh, you know, what do you want to talk about then? Because I read her book. I mean, believe me, you could drive a truck through the sentences. But it's just like when you're only known for like one or two things, really, there's only so much we can talk about. But she was nice enough to come. She's very nice, actually. It was just we didn't have great chemistry, and I think if she would have come by herself, hello, um, it would have been better just because we could have gotten into like a funner interview. Um, Well, I don't want to be a dick and say that's all she's known for, but it kind of is, to be honest with you. It's like if I went on a podcast and they want to talk about roast battle and the jellies, and I'm like, well, I don't want to talk about that stuff. What else would you talk about with me? But I get it. No, no one has found Boone's corpse yet. I mean, we all sadly believe, or most of us believe, Boone Shakalaka is no longer with us. I hope I'm wrong, but um, you know, I put it this way: I've never not seen Boone longer than 2 days, and it's been 2 years now. So yeah, yeah, beloved chat. It's like you know, Ace didn't want to talk about Kiss. He wanted to plug his solo albums, which I get, but it's like, dude, the only reason people know you is because you're time in Kiss. So yeah, I mean that, and she didn't want to talk about any of that stuff, especially with the boyfriend there. Like she had a cool story in the book, and I kind of forget it, but it was loosely. She went over to Dave Navarro's house, and he just opens up the door, and he's already jacking off to her. Like I couldn't ask her about that story with her current boyfriend, uh, Stagwar. I don't. I probably not. I'll be honest with you, probably not. But he said he would do my podcast, so yeah, I love Vinnie Benson as a guitar player and a songwriter. I'd be honest with you, I like Mark St. John. Animalize is probably my favorite sounding guitar-wise Kiss album, but he was only there for 8 or 9 months. If you like Mark St. John, Kiss just released, well, not just released, maybe a couple months ago, the only live show known to man with Mark St. John from Poughkeepsie, and only Kiss would do this. I think Fits Like a Glove cuts off halfway through, and Rock and Roll All Night, because they weren't really planning on releasing it, so they ran out of tape. Rock and Roll All Night cuts off right after the solo. Only Kiss would release a live album where 2 songs are like, you could have just gone in the studio and finished it and fake crowd noise, but I do kinda like it. Like, Rock and Roll All Night just cuts off, and that's the end of the album. But if you are a fan of '80s Kiss, it's a fascinating look into a very rare concert. I mean, I would describe Mark St. John's playing as almost a more subdued Vinny. So Mona Lisa is George Washington. I don't know what that means. Oh, I knew that theory. Yeah. I mean, well, but what I don't like about Gene and Paul is, um, you know, whenever they talk about Mark St. John now, they shit on the guy. It's like, well, you guys wanted a Yngwie Malmsteen, a Jakey Lee, a DeMartini style shredder. You got it. That's exactly what Mark St. John was. He was, Randy Rhoads' disciple. I think he took guitar lessons from Randy Rhoads because they both were friends with Grover Jackson from Jackson Guitar. So, like, he's exactly what you wanted. Oh, Boone believed Mona Lisa. Well, I don't know if I would. Um, I don't know if I would believe any of Boone's conspiracy theories. Hold on, I'm getting a text about some important information. Rainbow Bar and Grill owner Michael Magliari had a heart attack and passed away. So, breaking news on. Wow, that's sad. I was just talking about the rainbow last night. Wow. So rest in peace, Michael Magliari, owner of the Rainbow. Had many a meal there. Funny, I was just talking with a security guard last night at the gas station, the late night gas station on Sunset, where everyone goes to stock up on whatever they're getting for the next day. Myself, it's energy drinks. And then one of the security guys was when the Rainbow was there. He's like, "Earl, how come you don't go up there anymore?" And I was saying, "Well, it's just not the same. The servers, the good servers, all left. Because you could go there like 7, 8 years ago, and like." all the servers knew you. Hey, Earl, how you doing? And whatever girlfriend I was with at the time, and they knew your order, and like you didn't have to say anything. Like they knew what you wanted, and that all changed about 7, 8 years ago. So the gas station. I've always wanted to open up a bar called the gas station, and then have a gay bar, like a secret side room, a gay area called the Bone Zone. First ever concert was Allman Brothers, but Dickie Betts was in jail, so Zach Wild played. Zach Wild, it's my only time seeing Pantera was with Metallica a couple months ago at SoFi, and Zach Wild was the guitar player. I didn't know he was in Pantera, so it was a pleasant surprise. So, wow. Oh, it is the best pizza in town. I hope that's not true, but the guy who's texted me would know. So, unfortunately, you know, um, I believe Michael's son is still in charge. Um, well, that's a tough one, Stagwar. I mean, Dalia doesn't really go to the Comedy Store anymore, so you're in the clear. I don't know if he's officially banned, but they basically made it clear they don't want him up there. The girl has to be over 21. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, I know that the Rainbow. Well, it was kind of a scam. They would do is you would you pay $10 to come in, like there was an entrance fee, but then they gave you 2 drink tickets you could put towards your bill. Uh, yeah, I mean, I would say if there's any guitar player on planet Earth who could fill Dimebag's shoes, and like there isn't, but like he, what can you do if the guy was assassinated? Like Zach Wild's the guy. And he's really good. I mean, I'm not a fan of some of Phil Anselmo's, white power stuff. But I mean, I joke around a lot. But I was raised Catholic, but my mother was Jewish, so I'm technically Jewish. I could have done without that. Um, but Pantera, I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed them a lot. And I liked Mammoth a lot. I saw Mammoth play that night, Friday at SoFi, and then Sunday night I went to Orange County and they headlined their own show. And like, what I love about Wolfie Van Halen is he doesn't do any Van Halen songs, and he could totally cheat and just do a Van Halen tribute show, and he does his own stuff. So um, I really enjoyed it, and just like I'm enjoying seeing 11 people in chat, 14 likes, and it's the only I will never ask anyone for money. But what I will ask is when I put this out on Twitter in a few moments, just if you could like it or retweet it, gets the numbers up, and I'm trying all things, posting more comedy content on YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff. And please follow my friend Days with Jordan the Lion. It's the best travel vlog on YouTube. I mean, the best. Nothing comes close to it. Nothing comes close to his vlogs. Um, well, the problem though with Pantera, it's kind of like um, what was it? Well, Quiet Riot. I mean, you have the original band. Obviously Kevin DuBrow and Randy Rhoads are dead, but if you take the classic lineup band, you have Kevin DuBrow and Frankie Banali are deceased. So, say Carlos Cavazo and Rudy Sarzo wanted to keep playing Quiet Riot. It's like, are they wrong, or should they just let it go, or whatever? It's the same thing with the Cars. When Benjamin Orr died, and then I think David Robinson, the drummer, was a successful restaurateur, and Rick Ocasek was like producing Weezer. But then I think was it Greg Hawkes, the keyboard player, and Elliot Easton, the guitar player, were like, "Hey, we want to kind of amp up the Cars again." And I think Rick Ocasek and David Robinson were like, "Well, we don't want to do it, but you can do it. You just can't call it the Cars." So Hawks and Elliot Easton recruited Kasim Sultan on bass, Prairie Prince from the Tubes on drums, and Todd Rundgren, and they call it The New Cars. And they put out an album, I think it's called It's Alive. And they had a really good song called Not Tonight that I liked. Uh, it's funny, one time in West Hollywood, I saw Todd Rundgren walking around and he looked like he was lost. And I forget what he was looking for, but I'm like, "Hey, bro, are you lost?" He's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Oh, it's right over there." And he's like, "Thanks a lot." And I'm like, "Hey, before you guys go, say I really loved you in The New Cars." And he's got such a good sense of humor. He looked down on me because he's taller than me. He's like, "You were about the only one." Um, so, um, I always thought that was cool. Um, and then let me see. I guess that's about it. Oh, we got some more questions coming in there. Oh, thank you, beloved chatter. I mean, I'm open to any help in promoting this. You know, I'm not very good at the promotional aspects of this. I'm a comic. I write jokes every day. I go out and perform them. But that's not enough in today's world. You got to go viral and listen, Matt Rife. A lot of comics don't like him because he's so successful, but Matt Rife a couple years ago could only work at the Laugh Factory, and that's because he was running a show there with his buddy Paul, and now he's like the hottest thing in comedy right now because his fan base. You know, you got a fan base from viral videos. So thank you, beloved chatter. That would be awesome. I mean, it's easy to follow me everywhere because I'm just Earl Skakel everywhere, but I guess I'm most active on Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. Um, well, I don't know, Jordan. I mean, maybe Phil. Like, I don't know who has the rights to the Pantera name. I mean, obviously, I can't speak for the Paul brothers, but I can't imagine they would have a problem Zach Wild doing it. But maybe they would. I'm not really familiar with their world. Did the Ding? Yes, the Ding Dong Show is still every Monday nights. Well, Johnny, they called it The New Cars, and if you YouTube, I think Just What I Needed, New Cars, and Not Tonight, The New Cars. I mean, Todd Rundgren is the perfect blend to me anyway, of even though I have bad hearing, it's the perfect blend of Rick Ocasek and Benjamin Orr's, vocals. Seriously, Kate, check it out. Before you get hard at work on my bedazzled Plato's Retreat shirt, please check it out. The album's good. They actually had a couple good songs on it. Um, well, I don't. I think, like, if you listen to Todd Rundgren sing the classic car songs, "My Best Friend's Girl," and you know, well, Elliot Easton, I think, sang "Drive." No, no. I think the bass. I'm not sure if Todd or Kasim Sultan, the bass player, who was his bass player in Utopia, sang "Drive" or not. But Todd Rundgren is very faithful to the original Cars hits, and then the newer songs they did. Um, were really good. So yeah, please do. It's really good. Oh, I mean that first Cars album is flawless. I mean, maybe one of the great. I would say the greatest debuts, first albums. Boston's self-titled album, obviously Guns N' Roses, uh, Cars self-titled album Cameo. It's not a bad song on it. Um, yeah, yes, Lois, for those of you asking, Lois is still alive. Um, she had a health scare about a month ago with me and my ex, Gail, doing a more Gail than me, in all honesty, because it was Gail's turn to have her. She had to have x rays and she has a heart murmur, which is never good, but it's right now treatable. And she has some weird shit in her lungs. So she's not dying, but she's been in better shape. But thank you for asking. That dog means the world to me, as you know. Um, I mean, yeah, the cars really, they hit big, perfect timing when MTV exploded, and then, they had a bit of a lull after their prime. They put out, I think the album they put out in 1987. They were just doing it probably to fulfill a record label commitment. They did have one good song, "You Are the Girl," and I know very sexual innuendo. If you look up the Cars, "You Are the Girl" video, thank you, Jordan. I mean, she's not out of the woods yet. Because my last song, basically the one Lois replaced, Chloe. Um, she had a heart murmur, and that was the start of her downfall. But we'll see. I mean, Lois is in great shape for an older dog. I mean, I walk Lois from where I live. If you look up this on maps, it's a pretty impressive walk for a small dog. I basically live on Santa Monica Boulevard in San Vicente. I walk Lois to La Brea in Santa Monica, cut down to Melrose, and walk back up San Vicente. So it's a 4 or 5 mile walk, and Lois she can hang. She doesn't rest. She just goes right through it. She also can do the full Runyon Canyon hike, which is impressive for a small dog. So you know, it was a perfect timing. The Cars, they were a visual band, and their videos were the best. They weren't the greatest live, although I saw the new Cars a lot. I did see the Cars play the Palladium, which was a great show. As 4 of the 5 original members, and they did not do a replacement bass player out of respect to Benjamin Orr. I think Greg Hawkes just programmed the bass parts in there, so that was kind of cool to see. So we're gonna end it there, guys. I'm gonna go to the gym. And Jordan, to answer your question from a few questions ago, no, I did not sit next to Kenny Omega at the Kiss concert. What's the worst concert you've ever been to? I would say Great White at the Wiltern. I was there to see Enough's Enough. I went with, as Jordan would know, the legendary Vicky Hamilton, who was friends with Chips Enough, and the sound was just brutal. Now, Enough's Enough was good, but when Great White hit the stage, something happened on the soundboard, and they sounded awful. I mean, it was unlistenable. Uh, oh no, that's all right. Lambda, lambda, lambda. I mean, after the initial Kiss review, it's an open forum in my show. Not that this is a show, but FX. Now that sequel was not good at all, but the cast to FX it was just a great cast. How was Liberace when you saw him? Get out of town, man. I saw Liberace at a book signing. It was called. He wrote a book on astrology called "How to Find Uranus." Hello. Dogs are great buds, unless you're eating their manners. Yeah. Well, thank you, Johnny. Yeah, I mean, Lois is a great. Lois has outlasted literally 5 girlfriends and 4 other dogs. Not really, to be honest with you, Hayden. I mean, the Kiss concert that I reviewed earlier in this stream is probably the newest story I have. Yeah, I mean, the sequel to FX wasn't horrible. I think what hurt it was the cast in the first one was so good. Mason Adams, a pretty old school actor, Jerry Orbach, Brian Dennehy, Brian Brown, Diana Venora, Cliff DeYoung, who's like a staple in '80s movies. 52 Pickup, Lambda, Lambda, Lambda. I'm going to throw you my 2 favorite movies of all time, and I guarantee you, most people would not have these movies as their favorites of all time. But 52 Pickup and the great um, John Milius surf movie, Big Wednesday. I got in a fight with my cousin, said I gave Liberace AIDS. All right, well, I don't know if you did or didn't. Gina's a good body still. Uh, mean Season was excellent. The one with Kurt Russell. I never saw it. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he did meet Liberace, beloved chatter. I don't know. I've seen a great '80s movie. I mean, it's a little dated, but any canon movie is going to be dated. But um, probably my favorite actor of all time, the great John Glover, the best bad guy in mid '80s movies by far. And it's interesting if you go on YouTube. I don't know what you would look this up under, but the original, no, not the original, but well, I guess it was the original table read for the Karate Kid had John Glover playing the sensei Martin Kove part. Now I don't know if he was just there doing that as a favor to Jerry Weintraub, but I could totally see a 1984 John Glover as the sensei, uh, which is too bad because then he could have cashed in on all the Cobra Kai stuff. But yes, Roy from Jaws, Roy Scheider from Jaws, To Live and Die in L.A., a great Michael. I think Michael Mann had something to do with that movie. Chocolate War is one of my favorites. That's a great cast. If you talk about great cast, the Chocolate War had John Glover as the evil priest, Adam Baldwin from My Bodyguard, Jenny Wright from Inappropriate Earl, uh, Elin Mitchell Smith, the guy I'm forgetting his name right now, but he was in CSI Vegas. He played Archie in the Chocolate War. They did that boat gig, and the guy did Gene's voice over the PA. Oh, that's funny. Probably Craig Gass, Palmer Woodrow, Making the Grade. There's supposed to be a sequel to Making the Grade. That guy, not Dana Carvey, but Dana Olson played Palmer Woodrow. He actually turned into a pretty big producer. Um, well, when you look back at Martin, like John Glover, if you look at 52 Pickup John Glover and you kind of put him in the sensei role, it totally that makes sense. Chocolate War, I remember seeing that movie at the West Side Pavilion. It was an independent movie, but I was such a John Glover fan. Let me check this out, and it was really good. Uh, yeah, well, if you look at 52 Pickup, it was um, a great lineage of. It's an Elmore Leonard novel. John Frankenheimer directed. The cast was great. You had John Glover, Clarence Williams III, Roy Scheider, Anne Margaret, great character actor Robert Trebor, uh, Lonnie Chapman, who's like an old school actor. And I always wonder why, because 52 Pickup is kind of a loose um, version of what came out a year later in Fatal Attraction, kind of the same, like blackmail type. And Fatal Attraction just made over $100 million, and 52 Pickup, frankly, kind of struggled at the box office. Now I remember seeing it always bugged me why with the cast and Elmore Leonard and Frankenheimer involved, why it didn't do better. Like there had to be a reason, and there was a documentary on Netflix or Amazon about Canon Films. It had a weird name, but it basically explained that any Canon movie that was not Chuck Norris kind of didn't got minimal promotion. So they're like, oh, that's why it didn't do better. Because I do remember Roy Scheider doing interviews for it, but I don't recall like John Glover or Anne Margaret being interviewed for it or anyone else, Clarence Williams. So can we get some Predator lines? We're 2 hours 13 in. I tell you what, you tune into the next one, Stagwar. I'll give you one right now. Are you telling me Blaine and Hawkins were killed by a fucking lizard? Um, yeah, Lamb, but check it out. It's worth a rewatch. It's funny. I know William Forsythe's daughter. I met her at the Comedy Store, and she kind of looks like him. Like she's really pretty, but she's got his nose and facial features. I tried to get her to get him to do Inappropriate Earl. I don't know. He's of that era that probably would literally be like if his daughter Rebecca said, "Hey, will you go on my friend Earl's podcast?" He would probably look at her and go, "What's a podcast?" He's from that era. Uh, I think it was. Here's the crazy thing about Masters of the Universe is that, Dolph Lundgren's accent was pretty thick at that time, and so it was like he was hard to understand. So if you watch that movie, I mean, Masters of the Universe is really the story is really about He-Man, but he was so hard to understand at that time that they kinda, with Frank Langella as Skeletor, they kinda made it into almost a Skeletor movie. Um, hit the thumbs up for Earl. Yeah, I mean, hit the thumbs up if you want. I'd rather you retweet it, because that really helps get this into more people. I mean, it really is, no one without their fans. Uh, so, follow me everywhere, and you don't have to retweet it if you don't like it. If you don't like it, don't do anything. Forsythe is a great actor. He was in one of my favorite. Um, this is probably my. I have two shows. Well, three shows that I'll turn you guys on to, and then I'll leave to go to the gym. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Kate, Jordan, William, Stagwar, beloved chatter. I know is beloved in the Dabble world, um, or Dabbleverse. Um, I mean, I don't mind trolls, to be honest with you, because I know how to handle them. You just ignore them, to be honest with you. That's what that's what trolls want is your attention, and if you don't give it to them, they just leave. Um, oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, lambda lambda. Listen, I'll take any sharing of these you can. I mean, listen, someone told me it'd be good to post these things on Reddit, but I don't really know how to do that. Uh, oh, 100%. I mean, listen, I mean, I have probably a good hardcore group of 100 fans who tune in to everything I do. Not like 100 fans watching, but like they'll watch it eventually or whatever. But like Tim Dillon said, you need about 2,000 fans and you can make a living in this business. I mean, William Avison, Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth. Uh, uh, oh, yeah, 100%. Well, here's the thing about trolls and wanting to make me mad. Like if Anthony Jeselnik said, "Hey Earl, that's not a funny joke. You should do it this way." I'm going to listen to him because I respect him. If Jimmy Carr once watched my set at the Comedy Store, which was absolutely frightening because he was just staring at me the whole time, like, and he came up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, that last joke you told is really funny, but you should tell it like this." And I guess initially I thought to myself, "You're telling me how to do comedy, even though he plays arenas?" But I said, "Fuck it, I'm going to do the joke like he told me to do it," and it got a bigger laugh. But I don't really respect people unless they do what I do. So it's pretty hard to make me mad. Like someone could put in the chat right now, this stream sucks. And my attitude is, hey, start your own stream then. Let's see how you do it. Um, I've never met Ray DeVito personally. He's in that new commercial for college football where they show the fans burning things. And he's like, guys, it's just the first quarter. Brian Bosworth. It never hit me because he's a lot smaller now, but it's good to see Brian Bosworth. I don't think Stone Cold was that bad of a movie, to be honest with you. And beloved chatter, did you like him? He seems like a nice enough guy. I don't know a lot of New York comics. Let me put it this way: I don't interact with a lot of New York comics, so it's just why you respect Jeff Ross. I don't think I do actually, but I'm on a gag order with him, so if you know, you know. Oh, I don't care, lambda, lambda, lambda. You can. I know, but he's Chicago based. No, not Chicago. With Cleveland based, but I see. To me, he's a New York comic. lambda, lambda, lambda. I don't care if they come in. A view's a view. A watch hour is a watch hour. People want to hate watch. Come on in. I just want to acknowledge them. You know, I think I put that video. It's a reel of my a joke from the Comedy Store about meeting Fay Ray, the girl from King Kong, in my building, and it's one of my better newer jokes. And the feedback when I put it on Instagram and YouTube was really good. But one guy, he was clearly trolling me, going, "This joke sucks. It's too long." And he wanted me to react to it. I'm like, I know it doesn't suck. So, but I don't force people to like me. Like, if you don't think I'm funny, you know, me getting mad about that is not going to make you think I'm funny. So, you know, I would love it if you thought I was funny. Uh, I mean, yeah, I don't mind. Lambda, lambda, lambda. I mean, if Chad doesn't like him, he can't be all. I mean, I like Chad and Ray DeVito. I mean, I'm closer with Chad, to be honest with you. Pam is good. When are you going live again? Well, what I do is this was not an unscheduled live, but this was a um, say an impromptu stream because I went to the Kiss concert the other night. Um, I usually do at least one live a week. It's a AEW Dynamite review, and I usually do that Thursdays. I'm still fucking around. Yes, this was the Kiss concert update because I don't want to step on Kevin's toes, and I'm sure he doesn't care. Like, it's not like I'm going to be taking hundreds of people from him. So I know Kevin ends his stream around 4. So my next stream will probably be Thursday around 4 p.m. my time, so 7 p.m. East Coast time. Oh, thank you, JC. Oh, is that my buddy Jazz, my roommate Jazz in Vancouver? I have some news about MLC. Well, I don't try and talk about the Discord here, but I'm about to end the stream, so if you got news, share it. If not, hold on. Kevin thinks you are too close to Chad. Kevin would like for you. Hold on, the heart thing is blocking. Well, here's the thing about roast battle. Like, I've judged several roast battles. Um, I'm very down the middle. Like, I remember one time I was judging a rapist battle, and he won the battle, so I voted for him. Like, I'm very like roast battle. I take seriously in terms because I did it for so long, and it's I'm still close to the show of my heart that if OJ was winning a roast battle, I would vote for him. Um, so yeah, hit the sub, hit the bell, you never miss out. Well, I don't think I'm Chad's best friend. Uh, yeah, I absolutely will. I'm very impartial. I call it down the middle. And if Ray's killing Chad, I will vote for Ray, no problem. And I really mean that. So, all right, guys, this is almost 2.5 hours. Thank you guys for the support and watching and liking. And I know it sounds silly with just 10 people watching and 18 likes, but I appreciate it. Like, I mean, listen, my whole goal is to get people that want to watch me do stand up. It's the only reason I'm doing these things. I mean, I do like talking and all that shit, but um, yeah, I didn't know Kevin was going live today, but yeah, I mean, well, I mean, for 23 years in, I wish I would have done this shit earlier. Yes, please do. Stagwar. Um, but I mean, you have to have, clubs don't care if you're funny or not. They just want to think they can fill seats. So, No, I know Lambda, Lambda, Lambda. So right now, I would guess if you ask me, okay, dude, I don't care about why you're doing streams. When's your next stream? It will be this Thursday at 4 p.m. But if something happens between now and Thursday, like a big event, something, a topic I'm passionate about, I might do a live stream. Uh, and I don't think every live stream will be almost 2.5 hours. Because I from my own research and through my friend Jordan, I think most people watch a live stream for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, maybe not Kevin's fans; they watch pretty much the whole stream. But you know, I I would say I'll try and find a happy medium, and like an hour stream. Because when but it also depends on who's in chat. Like, the Kiss review probably ended an hour and a half ago, but people keep asking me questions and stuff. So, I'll answer any question. I'm an open book because I like this shirt. It's ACDC. Very soft shirt. Listen. I get no money from plugging ACDC merch, but this is like the Kiss shirts I bought at the concert. They're a little stiff, to be honest with you. This is like very soft. So you told me at the comedy store nobody can hear you with your shirt on. That's only if you have double D's. Hello. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys very much. I believe Jordan and Kate were on for the full stream. Thank you, William Zoom, Lambda, Lambda, Lambda. Beloved chatter, a legend in the Dabbleverse chat rooms. Thank you for watching. And like I said, I won't never ask you guys for money. Thank you, Kate. Beloved chatter, thank you very much. It is sauna time, Jordan. And I will never ask for money, but if you can repost on Twitter, it just helps, just does, or share on Instagram, Discord. I didn't even know what Discords are, to be honest with you. I'm clueless. But I do appreciate you guys. And let's all raise a glass for the longest Earl Skakel stream in the history of streaming. This is nothing to Patrick Melton. I mean, he's done like 24 hours. No way. Say hi to Mrs. Shelby. I will. Don't send any money, dude. I mean, listen, when I can get super chats, if you want to donate, I'm not talking to Jordan, but like, great. I'm not gonna panhandle for fucking money, but it's respect. But give what you want. If you don't want to give anything, I'll still put on a good show for you. Earl Skakel, over and out. Berry jelly in the house.